Hello and welcome to episode number 28 of the Hobbies and Happiness podcast, where we talk all about the hobby that makes us happy, tabletop gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Dan.
And I'm Jim, and today we're going over DC Deck Builder Core Set.
All right, so Jim had the bright idea, and it was a really good idea, of talking all about the DC deck building game. So, not that long ago, we kind of sat down and we're like, all right, so what are we going to talk about this week?
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what? Pull up our long list of topic
Feels like
ideas.
just yesterday we were trying to figure out what we were going to do for this podcast. Yeah. It was yesterday.
So we've got a bunch of topics in there, and we were kind of talking about Villainous a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, we've done an episode like all about Villainous, and we kind of want to revisit it at a later date when we've got a lot more games under our belt, especially Jim. But you know what? At this point, Jim's got a lot more games under his belt than you did before, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. So, we're like, let's talk about DC deck building game, because at this point we've got a good amount of DC deck building game videos on the channel, and we're still going to be playing it because that game is awesome.
There's a lot of stuff to it, so.
But like for us, I feel like DC deck building game holds a special place in our lives.
Yeah.
Really, because it's the first deck building game that we both played, right?
Yep.
So, it's always going to be a special game, more like, what's the term? Not emotional, but, sentimental. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Sentimental. Just for that reason. So, we actually played a game last night. Not going to do any spoilers, but, the video is going to air. I don't know when it's going to air, but it will air at some point. But it was a game.
It was a good game.
It was a really, really good game. It was really close. We had there were a lot of clippable moments in that game that I'm 100% going to clip. But anyway, and one thing I did tell Jim after that game was, I was like, up until that game, I was starting to get a little bit down on the game. Yeah. But after that game, I'm like, okay, this is really awesome. And I think it had something to do with only playing the core set like continually. We introduced some newer cards, again, newer because this is a relatively old game.
Yeah.
So we introduced some newer cards into the set. So we played with, I think, the Crisis expansion cards.
Yep.
And I was really impressed and surprised with just how well they played with the original core set.
Yeah.
And it really shone a bright light on these cards too, on a lot of the cards from the original core set. So what we thought we would do was honestly just talk all about the cards in the core set, some of our favorites, and then at the end we'll kind of do a top 5 list. Not necessarily top 5, but we're gonna give our top 5, our 5 favorite cards.
Yes.
From the core set. So
I did want to add one thing. So when you were talking about like when we were playing it the last few times, except for last night, you were kind of like getting down from it. Going off of it, it's like if we were just playing the core set, and since we've played it a lot of times, we kind of know what cards we really want to get to. Right. And it's like, oh, well, since I know that these are really good specific cards, why wouldn't I take those? And then you're like, oh, I don't get to play with these cards, and I know how good those cards are. And then it just like snowballs into, all right, now I'm just losing. And I can figure out when I lost, you know?
Right.
So
because there are times, I feel like every time we play the game now, we can pinpoint a specific turn that was a turning point for either one of us.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like that has its pros and cons a little bit. But like it really is a sign that you know the game and you really know how well it functions. And I feel like
it's also a bad thing because then you're just like,
right.
Oh, come on, really?
Right. And like it's also inherent to a competitive game, right? because it's like I'm not here trying to say, okay, well, I kind of want to build a different kind of deck. Like you can start by doing that, but also you're still trying to win.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're trying to win, it's like, okay, well, if I want to win, I know I need to pick up that card.
Some cards are just better than others at certain points in the game.
They are.
Specifically in certain points of the game.
Yeah.
And then there are just some cards that work really well with either the hero you're playing or other cards that you could have.
Right. And that is really why where I think if you want to do something different in the game, the first place you start, pick a different hero.
Yeah.
Play a different hero. Normally what we try and do is we just try and draft heroes. And so we pick two, we draft two, we pick one that we want to try, and then we get drafted another one. So we pick one, discard one, and then we get another one.
Yeah.
And then from those last two, we choose which one we want to do.
Yep.
And so normally that's kind of what we do, but if it's getting to the point to where, okay, I've played a lot of them, but I have not yet played this hero, then we'll just go ahead and play that hero.
Which is also a bad thing because in just the starting set, you have 7 different heroes to choose from.
Right.
So pretty much you're going to see nearly every single one during the drafting phase, except for a single card.
Yes.
And then you get to decide which one of your 3 that you're playing.
So going off of that, we're going to talk about the heroes, right? So like Jim said, there's 7. So it's basically the founding members of the Justice League, right? You got Aquaman, you got Batman, you got Superman, you got Wonder Woman, you got Flash, Green Lantern, and Cyborg.
Where's Thor?
Wrong comic book universe. So talking about Marvel, so Marvel's got Legendary, right?
Yeah.
Another fantastic deck builder. One of the things that sets these two games apart, and actually I'm looking at Legendary right over there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Is DC. With DC, you are controlling a character.
Yes.
Okay. And normally you're doing a superhero, but there are expansions to where you can take on the role of the villains. So you're always controlling a character, and that character has a specific ability, right? Legendary, that's not the case. Legendary, it's kind of like you're putting together your team, right?
Yeah.
So that's just it's just a different thing, and playing both of them, that is one of the things I do like about the DC version is I am taking on the role of a superhero or a supervillain. I do like that. That's not to say Legendary is bad. Not at all, because Legendary is awesome.
It's just different.
It's just different.
Yeah.
That's all. It's just different. And the other thing is, in taking on the role of a character, it's just another ability that you have access to.
Yeah. And it's
it's another card, basically.
Yeah. And if you can notice that you get it every single turn, you can start taking that value into consideration as to how it can make your deck even better.
And so, it can be a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because it could be a bad thing from the standpoint of, it forces you to build a certain deck.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't have that restriction, right, you're more open to build whatever kind of deck you want.
Yeah.
So,
like if I know you're playing the Flash, who always goes first, but then he also has the effect of the first time you would draw a card, draw an additional card. So it makes it to where, all right, well, I know I'm going against Flash. I want him to not have a whole lot of draw stuff. So, well, if I see something new comes out for drawing, I'm probably going to pick it up.
I mean, you're going to try and pick it up.
Yeah. I'm more so saying if there was nothing on draw for you and you say you bought 2 cards on the lineup and then go at the end of the turn and then a draw spell came out, I would
You're going to prioritize the card that has draw card on it, which normally everyone is going to, I shouldn't say they're going to prioritize it, but normally they're eyeing it. If there's a card that has draw card on it, pretty much everyone at the table is going to eyeball it because it has draw card, right? But it's just those cards that have draw card are inherently more powerful for the Flash player.
Yep.
Now, real quick, I do want to point out, we have mentioned this in some of our gameplay videos before, but the card effects, okay? So the card effects, they resolve independently of one another.
Yeah.
Okay. So the interaction that I'm specifically referring to is the Flash and Penguin. So Penguin is a villain. I believe it costs 3. Where his ability reads: you draw 2 cards, then you discard 2 cards.
Yep.
Okay. Now, with Flash's ability, where it says if you would draw any amount of cards, you draw an additional card, right?
Which is very weird.
Yeah, it is weird, especially if you're a Magic player.
Yes.
Right? Especially for you Magic players, you would read that as, oh, I draw 2 cards, but then Flash's ability would trigger, so then I would immediately draw that additional card, and then I would only discard the 2 cards per Penguin.
Because it's kind of weird, because say we're talking about doubling season to put +1/+1 counters onto creatures.
Yeah.
It would enter the board with that many, or plus an additional one, whatever the card is. And well, you put that on there, but then doubling season also goes on with it before if there's any other effect on the card. It's not like, oh, it comes in with 1, continue the effect of the card, doubling season kicks in, plus another one.
Right.
It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Since
like
Flash,
especially if you read it as a replacement effect.
And Flash, I believe, states draw an additional card.
Yeah.
So the first time a card tells you to draw 1 or more cards during each of your turns, draw an additional card.
Yeah.
It's not the first time you would draw a card, or when you would draw a card, the first time, or however you want to word it, draw 1 card or draw a card.
Right.
It's draw an additional.
Right. So again, and that's for us coming from a Magic background, that's kind of where we immediately came from. And we're like, oh, we inherently understand how these effects work together. It wasn't until someone pointed it out to us and was like, you guys are cheating. You're doing that wrong. I don't think they said cheating, but we were doing it wrong.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
and it is helpful because that specific interaction is called out in the rule book.
Yeah.
And so that specific interaction between Flash and Penguin is called out. And it even says you resolve the effect of 1 card before resolving the effect of another card.
Yep.
So in that interaction, you would first resolve Penguin's ability where you draw 2 and then discard 2, and then you would go to resolve the Flash's ability of drawing that extra card.
Yeah. So it's not nearly as good as
It's not nearly as powerful, but it is still good.
Yeah.
But just keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So other heroes, you've got Aquaman. Jim, why don't you read Aquaman?
Yeah, Aquaman's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Man, this guy
I love Aquaman.
Whew.
Aquaman is crazy.
Yeah. So you may put any cards with cost 5 or less you buy or gain during your turn to the top of your deck.
Mm-hmm. So why that's powerful? Okay.
Yeah, damn, why is that powerful?
So in most deck builders, like DC Deck Builder, when you buy or gain cards, they go to your discard pile.
Yep.
Okay. So what that means is when you get that card, once it goes into your discard, you still have to draw through your whole deck.
Yep.
Okay. Then once you draw through your whole deck, you then take your discard pile and then shuffle your whole discard pile, right? Mm-hmm. So depending on where you're at in your deck, okay.
Say you got like 30 cards.
Right. And then you're constantly buying more cards, right? So you're buying more cards, adding to your discard pile. Mm-hmm. So your discard pile is doing this, and then your draw pile is doing this. Normally, obviously, this is exaggerated.
Maybe we should say one is going up, one's going down for the people listening on the podcast.
Yes. So your discard pile is getting thicker. Your draw pile is getting slimmer, right? So once your draw pile runs out, then you have to shuffle your entire discard pile.
Yep.
And then that 1 card that you bought that you're trying to get, okay, who knows when you're going to draw it? It could be at the bottom of your draw pile.
Yeah.
Right? So
there's no reshuffling your deck.
What do you mean?
I don't believe. Like, are there some cards that allow you to go search through your main deck and draw?
I don't think in core set. Okay. I don't think in the core set.
So I'm more so saying of like shuffle your deck, aside from having to redraw more cards.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think in the core set there is. So why Aquaman is so powerful is when you can put that card directly on top of your draw pile, you know you're getting it next turn.
Aside from
you're
that,
immediately seeing it.
You're setting up your future turns. If you buy 2 cards that combo off really well together, you could just be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's buy that.
It is a May, correct?
Yeah.
It is a May. So if you bought 3 cards
Mm-hmm.
and you really only want to see those 2, for example, like a defense.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you buy 3 cards and one of them is a defense card. Okay. You know the table is turns away from defeating that supervillain, so you know that defense really probably isn't going to be powerful, isn't going to be useful to you next turn, and you know that other people at the table, there hasn't been any villains that they don't have attacks on it. Okay, so you know that's not coming. So you can put that defense card into your discard, and then those other 2 cards, which combo off together, or just give you a lot of power.
I was going to say, you also have the opportunity of there are cards in the game that allow you to go through your discard and get a hero or an equipment.
Right.
And so you could just be like, all right, well, this is a really good equipment.
Right.
And it makes it to where I now get to draw an extra card from my deck if I put it in the discard rather than on top of the deck.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, we could go through so many different scenarios to why Aquaman is really good.
Which, looking at a lot of these cards, we're going to.
Yeah. All right, so the next one I want to talk about is Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman is another great hero. So Wonder Woman has the ability to where for each villain you buy or gain during your turn, draw an extra card at the end of your turn.
Yeah.
It's a simple effect, but oh my goodness, is that powerful.
Yeah.
So if you, again, let's use that example where you gained 3 cards. If you gained 3 villains, so you draw 5 cards every turn. Well, instead of drawing 5 cards, you're drawing 8 cards.
Yeah.
You're drawing 8 cards. Now, one other thing. The superheroes themselves do not trigger off of other superheroes. So if you're playing the variant, it's called 2 Heads Are Better Than One, which I'll link that variant that we did do. I was playing Wonder Woman and Flash. Okay. So
did you win that game?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm pretty sure. I think that was the game where like I just trounced you.
Probably.
Now, granted, I did cheat, not knowingly cheated.
Yeah.
Right?
We both would have assumed because how it states, right? The first time you would draw, not off of cards specifically, it just says when you would draw an additional one.
So if you're unfamiliar, that was clarified by Cryptozoic, by their R&D team, I believe. But yeah, that they do not trigger off
Except
of
it makes sense if you aren't like a part of the R&D team or even
totally
look it up.
And honestly, you know what? For all we kind of make fun of, like, me and Jim do make fun of not BGG itself, but just the what people say sometimes of, oh, you didn't know, like, this ruling. There's a BGG thread that talks all about it. Like, we kind of say that in jest sometimes. Because
I mean, it is also true.
It is right.
Very true.
But it's also like a community thing. Like if you're in the community, like BGG is an amazing resource, and I freaking love it.
That's for sure.
Like it's fantastic. But like how I got into tabletop, like when I got into tabletop, I had like a couple of games, like DC Deck Builder. It was one of the first games that I got. And then Villainous. Like, if I had questions, I didn't know about BGG.
Yeah.
And so I had to, like, figure everything out. So, like, if you don't know that those resources are out there, no one's going to blame you. It's just you don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know, right? And you're not going to know until you, like, start digging and looking into it. And honestly, like, super casual environments, like, if you just say, oh, hey, I got this game and I kind of want to check it out.
Yeah.
Would you know to look at in this day and age? You probably would, but I don't know. It's just a thing. I mean, I love BGG, and I love now. If we ever have a question, we immediately go to BGG,
to the phone.
And then we find the answer within like 5 minutes.
We're gonna phone a friend.
Yeah, we find the answer like immediately. So BGG is an amazing resource. So, like, honestly, that's how we found the answers to a lot of these questions. So the heroes do not trigger other heroes, basically.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, there's really nothing else to say about Wonder Woman. It's just, it's additional card draw, and she wants you to go down the route of gaining more villains. So, I mean, you'll find instances to where it's really, really robusted, but if you have a lineup that is completely full of villains, then that's going to be for you. So
I want to
yeah,
talk
why don't you
about
talk?
this
Yeah,
one.
why don't you talk about
This
Green
one's one of my
Lantern there?
favorite. Green Lantern
Yeah.
has, if you play 3 or more cards with different names and they cost more than 1 during your turn, plus 3 power.
Yeah.
Just so it's not going to happen in early game.
Oh yeah,
It can happen like middle of the game,
once
mid-game.
it starts happening, it's probably going to happen every turn.
Yeah, it starts happening a whole lot, especially if you can blow up all the starter cards or a lot of the starter cards and you're in the mid-game, it's going to happen nearly every single turn.
Yep. So yeah, I feel like, so basically
this guy was amazing.
Basically, you just count Green Lantern as another card in your hand that grants you plus 3 power.
Yeah.
And that is inherently powerful.
On top of all of the cards that are also giving you power.
Well, and then if you think about it, a lot of the cards in the game, any of the cards that give you plus 3 power are costed at 6 or more.
Yeah.
I think all cards that cost 5 at max give you plus 2 power.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think there are cards that cost 5, and we'll check as we're going into some of these cards.
But I don't think 4, but this one's also needing this.
Yes, that's conditional.
Yeah,
like it's conditional.
Yeah.
But the ones that consistently give you plus 3 power every turn, I think cost at least 6.
Yeah.
So Green Lantern to give you plus 3 power every single turn.
Yeah. Just for like free, quote unquote, free.
I mean, that's like 6 cost. That's 6 power that you have to generate in one turn to get that.
And it's not even
to be able to draw it.
And it's not even like we're saying it's conditional. Like, sure it is, but the condition is you just playing the game.
Yes.
Like you buying cards, you then redrawing up and playing
it's
these
like
cards.
playing Simic in Magic, right?
Maybe I don't like Green Lantern. What's next, Stan?
It's green.
Cyborg. All right.
All right. So the next one we got here is Cyborg. I like Cyborg. Cyborg was one of the earlier ones that I played. Obviously, the first hero I played was Batman, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So Cyborg has, if you play 1 or more superpowers during your turn, plus 1 power. If you play 1 or more equipment during your turn, draw a card. So one of the things I like about Cyborg is he is more open-ended. Okay. So he doesn't, kind of restrict where you want to go.
Yeah, obviously, he's not funneling you towards
obviously
one strategy.
none of these heroes, tell you have to play the game a certain way, but they encourage you to play the game a certain way. Like Wonder Woman encourages you to gain villains, right? Cyborg is more, you could do superpowers or you could do equipment. I'm going to give you bonuses to either one.
Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say, because you can get bonus to both of them each turn,
Yeah, you
right?
get both. Right. So, he's not like, okay, if there's equipment and superpower, you have to grab the equipment to use my ability. No, his is either, right? His is both. So Cyborg is very nice. I do like that. And any superhero that's more open-ended and gives you more options, like for bonuses, then that's good. That's always good in my opinion. So now we're going to talk about the final 2, the big boys.
So Superman is one of my favorite heroes.
In DC Comics?
Yeah, in DC Comics.
Yeah.
More, my bad, in this game.
Okay.
Yeah, more so talking about in this game. But I always forget to do his effect. I'm just garbage. So, plus 1 power for each different superpower you play during your turn. I don't know how many times I forget about it. Dan, how many times do I forget triggers in Magic?
I mean, you forget triggers in every game.
In every single game.
Like, how about playing Villainous and forget to draw your cards?
I told you, I don't forget to draw cards. I'm great at that game.
Yeah. You are good. You are good at the game.
I'm only good at Queen of Hearts, Stan. Turn card sideways and take the shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Superman is an amazing card. There's so many good superpowers out there.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you're just doing one additional kick every single turn, that's turning a kick into 3 power.
Yeah. Now, real quick, so if you guys are at all, if you've never played DC deck building game, and you're confused about some of these terms that we're throwing out, we're not going to go over like a how to play. We've done plenty of videos on it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to link right here our first DC deck building game video where we did like an overview and how to play, and we did our first gameplay of the game on the channel. So we will link that right here if you've never seen it. So definitely go check that out and then come back here.
Pause the video, go watch that, come back.
Probably should have mentioned that first, but yeah. And then if you're listening, go to our YouTube channel, and we've actually got a full playlist of all DC deck building gameplay videos. So it's going to be the first video in that playlist. So go check that out. And if you're watching, check out that playlist too. I'll make sure.
No, you don't need to watch all of the DC movies in order to play this game or read all the comic books.
It's not like it even helps.
Yeah, I know.
Like, and it's not like, and I'm sure everyone here has played games that are like super thematic and like villainous, for example. Like, for me, right? I'm gonna say this for me because Jim has not seen a lot of these movies, right?
No, I haven't.
But it's actually one of the reasons I really like the Disney villainous games is it really makes me feel like I am that character as I'm playing the game. It's not needed and not necessarily, and honestly, like you don't even get that vibe playing this game. There's really nothing that's like, oh, that's so Superman, or it's so. Honestly, the only thing is really like the card types. So like in the core set, all the superpowers are like, oh, hey, these are Superman. Superman does these things, which it kind of does, and all the equipment
or it's the Flash, and yeah.
So not needed.
Yeah, not at all.
No. So, all right, last but not least, Batman. So Batman was and is my favorite superhero in all DC Comics. I've been a big Batman fan my entire life. And so Batman, his ability is +1 power for each equipment you play during your turn. So kind of like Superman, only wanting you to go the equipment route. And that's where his bonuses are going to net you. So Batman and Superman, very similar, just on the different card types of what you're going to get. So
don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget your triggers. Honestly, just with every card game, it's like don't forget your triggers. So Jim, favorite superhero of these to play?
Of these to play, probably Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So for me, boy, I would probably say Aquaman or Wonder Woman. So if I had to choose between Aquaman and Wonder Woman, I'd probably pick Wonder Woman.
Oh, really?
I probably would.
Wow. Okay.
I'm
kind of surprised because I know, I mean,
they're both good.
I don't want to say like you tend to lean more towards the equipments.
I normally do, yeah.
So it's like, and a lot of the equipments are 5 or less to just allow you to then start setting up on top of the deck. Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's probably what I would pick. But the other thing too is like every game is different. Every game is different. So, all right. So we've got a bunch of cards out here.
Yes.
So the first thing I want to touch on real quick is the locations. Okay. So there are a total of 5 different locations, and each location is 5 costed. So they each cost 5. Okay. And what each location does is it's an ongoing card to where once you play it stays out in front of you the rest of the game. And they each have the ability where if you play a certain card type, I believe it's a certain card type or cost, then you get to draw a card. But it only triggers once. So you have Fortress of Solitude for superpowers. You have the Batcave for equipment. You have Arkham Asylum for villains. Watchtower for heroes. Titan's Tower has, if you play a card that costs 2 or 3. First time you play a card that costs 2 or 3. So a kick costs 3. So the kick will, so there's a kick stack. It's always going to be there, so you can always gain those if you have the necessary amount of power to gain it. There you go.
Which you pretty much always will, unless the off chance you get 3 vulnerabilities at the start of the game.
Yeah. But then your next hand, you're going to have 5 power.
Yeah, which they're There tends to be a lot of cards at 5 costs you can buy in the lineup, unless you get really unlucky.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're probably going to have something.
So that's the locations. I mean, that there's really nothing else to say.
Yeah.
I normally, if there's ever a location, I always tend to, I always want to grab it.
Yeah.
Because that way it will, if I see that card type, if I see that a card of that type or cost, then that's just at least an additional card draw.
Yep.
Every time I play that card.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think the locations are always good to try and grab. Because the thing is, it's only one additional card every time you play it. It's just one card, but still one card can give you a lot.
But if you got 3 of them out there and you have a wide variety of cards in your list, which most of the time you are, you're just like, draw off of this. This one triggers now. I draw off of this. Oh, look what I drew into. Now I'm going to play this and then draw another card.
Yep. All right, Jim, what couple of cards you want to talk about real quick?
Oh, man. All right, I'm going to talk about these ones right here.
All right, yeah, for sure.
These ones are some of my favorites.
Yep.
So we have Green Arrow. I'm going to first say the name and then pretty much what they do.
Yep.
Green Arrow, Utility Belt, and Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad's a little bit different from those and a little bit better.
Yes. So what the Green Arrow and Utility Belt do, they both give +2 power. And then they have, at the end of the game, if you have 4 or more other heroes or equipments, depending on which one it is, in your deck, this card is worth 5 VPs. So counting victory points for the end of the game to see who actually wins the game. So if you're able to set these up, each one of these gives 5. And there's multiple copies inside the main deck. I believe there's 2 of each one.
At least.
Yeah, so either 2 or 3. 2, I want to say 2.
It might be 3. I can't remember.
And then Suicide Squad's a little different, and my favorite one of the 2.
Yeah.
Or of the 3. +2 power, and then this effect.
Did you not know this effect?
No, so like I knew it, but I didn't activate it in our last games.
I
did.
Oh,
I did it multiple times. Oh my goodness.
And I was not going to say anything to him either.
So that's what I get for not playing.
That's what you get for not reading your cards.
Oh wait, no. It's 2 others. I was thinking it was 1 other. Okay. I don't think I've done 2 others.
That I don't think.
I thought it was just play 2.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So if you've already played 2 other Suicide Squads this turn, each foe discards their hand.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, 4.
Now, is that an attack?
No.
Oh!
It's not an attack.
So that's not an attack, meaning
you can't defend
there's
it.
Nothing you can
there's
do
no
about
avoiding
that.
it.
There's no avoiding it,
man.
nothing.
This card's amazing. Then at the
That's
end,
all we're going to give you about that last time we played this game.
At the end of the game, this card is worth 1 VP for each Suicide Squad in your deck. Yeah. So if you have 4, each one of them is 4 for a total of 16 VPs.
Yep. Now, I wish you would have pulled out all the Suicide Squads to know how many are in the total list.
Yeah.
I
think there's only 4.
I think there might be 5. There might be 5. Okay. There might be 5. We'll have to double check. But yeah, normally, like if you pick up Suicide Squad, it's like, okay.
Now
I see Suicide Squad. I'm grabbing.
Now everyone has to start picking up Suicide Squads.
Exactly. Because that other ability of discarding your hand, no, thank you.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to do that because that's basically giving your opponent in a 1v1, someone gets an extra turn.
Yeah.
Is basically how it is.
I was just thinking about it in our. Oh wait, hold on a second. When did that come out? I think the first one came out today, and then at the end of the Crisis game. All right, almost spoilers.
Okay.
Almost spoilers. I was thinking about something specific.
I'm trying to remember.
So, let's say you got down to 7 cards in your deck, and 3 of them were Suicide Squad. You're just every single turn, Dan, pitch your hand.
Yeah.
Dan, pitch your hand.
Yep.
Dan, pitch your hand. And you're just playing everything.
Turns. That's infinite turns.
Yeah, you're going infinite.
You're going infinite.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. That's you could do that.
I didn't even think about that till I just saw that effect.
You could do that. You could do that. Yep.
Yeah.
So, in talking about attacks, but not attacks. Since this is kind of an attack, but you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about attacks that you can do something about.
Oh, okay.
So, in instances like that, which normally in the core set, there's one of two ways, right? You're going to get attacked from a supervillain, right? Which we didn't even bust out any of the supervillains. Nope. We're not really talking about supervillains because, they're there.
They're there.
They're there. But we're mostly talking about
and you're not going to play against all the same ones every single game either.
Right. And honestly, like if you have one in your deck, they're really good effects.
They do tend to be really strong, but some of them it's just like I don't really want to do this effect plus 4 power. So it'll have like some cool effect and then or you can get plus 4 power. And most of the time
depending.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Depending on what it is, yeah. So, but anyway, so the supervillains have their first appearance attack, which once they get flipped over on the supervillain stack, their first appearance attack goes off. Or there are some villains that have a attack. So when you play that villain as a card, which I don't think either of these have an attack.
No, we didn't pull out an attack.
Okay, so there's one like Scarecrow. So Scarecrow, I believe Scarecrow's a good card as a villain. Okay, so he has +2 power, but attack each foe gains a weakness.
Yeah,
I believe it's each foe. So like in a multiplayer game, each one of your opponents gets a weakness. So so those are attacks, which if your opponent has a defense card, they can defend from that attack. So probably in my opinion, and Jim, I think you'd probably agree with me, two of the best defense cards in the game are Super Speed and Cape and Cal.
Are they the exact same things?
They're the same.
They're
the same. They're the same. They're the same from a defense.
I would
from a
say
defense standpoint.
No, because I think this one
is way more conditional.
Is better.
Okay, so we've got 3 cards here. Okay, so we've got Cape and Cal, Super Speed. Cape and Cal is an equipment that costs 4. Super Speed is a superpower, cost 3. So both of them have stapled on the card defense. Discard this card to avoid an attack. If you do, draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cape and Cal cost 4. Super Speed cost 3. Now, I think those cards are inherently better than Bulletproof.
If we're talking about throughout the entire game, then yes.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm more so talking about if you can pop off early, it kind of snowballs into the later stage, which I think Bulletproof is better for early.
Okay, so let's talk about Bulletproof first. So Bulletproof is another superpower. 4 cost gives you +2 power. So Bulletproof is more closer to Cape and Cal because Cape and Cal is always gives you +2 power.
Yeah.
However, Bulletproof, its defense is if you defend against an attack, discard it to avoid the attack. And then if you do, destroy a card in your discard pile.
And you get to draw as well.
Oh, you do get to, yes. Oh, you do get to draw. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Bulletproof is also a very good card.
So it still replaces itself.
In hand.
Card.
Yeah. So it replaces itself in hand, plus it blows up a card in your discard. So I think, and again, so Jim did say he does agree with me over the entire course of the game. Okay. So, and that's where my head is at because always drawing 2 cards in a defense situation is going to be better than blowing up a card and discard because when you defend, you may not always have a discard pile to blow up. So, whereas drawing 2 cards, you'll never run out of cards to draw. So that's why I think drawing 2 cards is going to be better. Unless you only have
7 cards in your deck.
True, yes.
Spoilers.
But then, in that case, Bulletproof is doing nothing
none
either.
of them,
Yeah. So Jim, tell us, why is blowing cards up powerful?
I prioritize blowing cards up so much more than if we're talking about drawing cards, yes, that's one of the most powerful things you can do in pretty much any card game is drawing cards.
Yeah.
But when you have cards in your deck that are just really bad or completely worthless.
Like weaknesses,
Vulnerabilities, even punches, like
all
in the
your
later
starter
stages,
cards.
all the starter cards, it's going to slow you down a lot. And if there's an opponent that is putting a lot of weaknesses inside your deck, or you're just getting a lot from like the supervillains that are coming out, you now have even more wasted slots on top of you now have minus victory points. So the faster you can trim the fat pretty much in the deck, get rid of all the bad stuff and make it to where your deck is at its full peak in terms of optimization, is the best thing you can do.
And that is true in every single card game. Even in constructed formats, okay, it's always what are the best 40 cards or 60 cards or whatever the format is, what's the best cards that I
normally
can have.
So in a card game, if you're allowed to play between 40 cards and 60 cards, very rare are you going to pick 60 cards, unless there are cards out there that state like, oh, you can only do this if you have 60 cards in your deck, or other effects along those lines.
And we're talking about competitive card games, not like we're talking about competitive TCGs, not LCGs or expandable card games, because though a lot of those type of games, I'm mostly thinking about Marvel Champions, okay, where they have there's an additional variable you have to factor in there to where once you go through your whole deck, you shuffle your discard pile to form a new deck, but when you do that, you have to draw an encounter card. Like there is some negative effect where it is you are getting one card. But that's still another thing to where you may want it, like it may not be a bad thing to have a few more cards in your deck, right? So we're specifically talking about competitive TCGs. And deck builders, right? To where you want to minimize, right? It's basically minimizing your amount of cards, maximizing your potential output, which is applied to DC is minimize amount of cards, maximize your amount of power output per turn.
Increase your DPS overall. Your damage per second, or in this turn, damage per turn.
So going off of that, we're going to talk about probably three. The only thing, so we talked about bulletproof, which again, that's super conditional.
But because it is a defense.
There's three other cards that will always get you always able to blow stuff up. And that is Nth Metal, Heat Vision, and Lobo. Three of the best cards in the game. Now, Lobo is amazing, but he also costs 7.
And there's only one of them.
There's only one Lobo in the entire.
But boy, is he good.
So Lobo is a villain. He costs 7. And he has +3 power. You may destroy up to 2 cards in your hand and or discard pile. So something that gives you +3 power every single time you play, and you can blow up 2 cards.
And it's not a mandatory.
It is May. It is a May effect. It is a May effect. So that is one of the best cards in the game.
I was gonna say, if you could start with any one card in the game in your deck every single game, I would probably go Lobo. I'll take.
Give me Lobo all stinking day.
It'd be like, you only have one card in your deck. I don't care. Blow up everything +3. Now I can start to build. Get a kick every single turn. Now I got 5, and it's like, oh, now I got 4.
A little spoilers, but Crisis expansion adds in the ability to have interaction with the destroyed pile,
which is awesome.
So we're only talking about core set here, but so me personally, I've only played core set and the first Crisis expansion. We have pretty much all of the boxes, all the expansions. There's maybe like a couple of small boxes that I don't have yet. I think we're just waiting for them to get reprinted or something. But we've got like everything, and we're going to play through everything. So me personally, I'm excited to see. And again, this game is relatively old, right? It's been around for a while, right? So like I am experiencing and being introduced to the newer expansions, way down the line, and that's cool. So I'm excited to see what they did with these other expansions and kind of how they introduced other types of effects and abilities. And so like the interaction with the steroid pile, I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool. And it's a totally different thing playing Crisis mode versus just playing with the Crisis cards in a normal game.
Yep.
So that was really cool. So yeah, Lobo, fantastic. Heat Vision, 6 cost plus 3 power, but you can destroy up to 1 card, I believe, in your hand.
And
or
there's
discard.
multiple copies of Heat Vision.
Multiple copies of Heat Vision. Okay. Now, one of the best cards in the game, early game, Nth Metal.
This card's amazing.
Equipment costs 3 plus 1 power. Look at the top card of your deck. You may destroy it. So if that's one of the first cards you buy, I don't care. I am destroying what's on top every single turn.
Because
it's going to be. Oh yeah,
especially if you get it turn 1, it doesn't matter what it is.
Don't care if it's a vulnerable. I don't care if it's a punch. I'm blowing it up.
Yeah,
I don't care.
You want to get rid of those.
You want to get rid of them. Because the longer you wait, the more variability is going to be introduced into your deck.
Yep.
The less often you're going to see your starter cards.
Yeah.
So that's why you blow up your starter cards early and often.
And the fact that the card is 3, you're almost guaranteed to get it on turn 1.
Yeah.
If it's out there on turn 1.
And there was a game that I know is posted to the channel. But I think I picked up 2 Nth Metals. Turn 1 and
it was nuts. I was just
and
like, oh my god.
In that case, it's like
going back to what we were talking about earlier. You play it enough times, you know what cards are really powerful.
Yeah.
Once I saw Dan pick up those 2, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It was rough.
Yeah, that was actually, I think that was a game where you were like, when is it my turn to be salty?
That's right.
And then you're like, whenever I want, I guess.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a game.
Yeah, that was a game. So, I mean...
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, and again, it's a card game. That's what happens in card games, right? And the other thing too is the last game that we played, it's like the game will start a certain way, and then there could be one thing that just completely alters and changes the way the trajectory of a game.
Yeah,
it's just it's insane. It is absolutely insane. All right, so a few other cards we want to talk about here.
Yeah,
so let's talk about these equipment.
Yes.
All right, so why don't you talk about the Batmobile?
Okay, one of my favorite cards.
Yes. Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yep.
So Batmobile, and it's 2 cost. Okay.
Yes.
So it's impossible to not be able to buy this on turn 1.
Yes.
It's impossible.
Yes.
If this is the first card you've played this turn, discard your hand and draw 5 cards. Otherwise, plus 1 power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 1 VP for 2 mana.
Why is that good early game?
All right, let's see here. Let's say you got some vulnerabilities in your hand that are just...
I mean, what's the worst possible hand? So what's the worst possible hand you could have early game with that card in your hand?
3 vulnerabilities, a punch in this.
Yep.
Which, knowing going into your next few cards, there are no vulnerabilities left in your deck.
Yep.
Play it, plus 5.
Plus 5 power.
Plus 5 power.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like early game, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Or even if there's some, say it's not even early as to where it's like your first turn that you're buying this and then being able to play it. Say you bought a few more cards and you're like, all right, well now I have nothing but starter cards and this. Yep. Well, I know there's other really good cards left in my deck, or I want to reshuffle my discard pile to get more chances at these other cards. Play it. Draw 5 new cards.
Yep.
It's amazing.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. So, like, think about it late game where you've got 3 weaknesses in your hand.
Yeah,
plus
if
that
you
card.
have those,
yeah. Like if you've got weaknesses, like that's crazy too.
Yeah.
So Batmobile is a really great card. The fact it only costs 2, like that's just that's crazy. That is crazy. One of my favorite cards, I feel like, is Bat Signal. Yeah. Equipment plus 1 power.
I don't know how many times I've seen you pick
put
that
a
card
hero
up.
from your discard pile into your hand.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heroes in this game. Combos perfectly well with Robin. One of my other favorite heroes in the game, Robin, 3 cost hero plus 1 power, put an equipment from your discard pile to hand.
Yeah, they just like really search for each other.
Yeah. So Play Bat Signal, get Robin. Play Robin, get another equipment. That's plus 2 power.
Yeah.
So that's at least plus 2 power, plus you're getting another equipment.
One card that is getting you essentially 2 cards.
The way I'd probably do it though is I would do if I had the choice, I would probably do Robin first to get Bat Signal. Bat Signal to get another hero because there are better heroes than there are equipment.
Yeah, and obviously all of these are very situational.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
And it's like, oh well, you know, you can't always do it that way because, well, if there's no other heroes in your list, but then you have equipment, then...
right. So the only downfall is Bat Signal costs 5. Yeah. So costing 5, I mean,
but an amazing card.
Yeah, an amazing card overall.
You've
used that card.
Yeah.
Way more.
I love this card.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So Green Arrow's Bow.
Yep.
Plus 2 power. It's 4 cost. Super villains cost 2 less to defeat this turn.
Yep.
So it's essentially, if you're using just this card to go up against a supervillain, this is essentially 4 power.
Yep.
Just reduce the cost.
Think about having 2 cards, 2 of those in your hand. Yep. That's 8 power.
Yeah.
If you're just going at the supervillain that turn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's nothing more to say. That is insanely powerful.
Yes.
Insanely powerful.
4 damage it can only be beat by 5 damage.
Yep. And then that costs what? 4?
4, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it costs 4, so it's not bad. So Aquaman's Trident, goes along with the Aquaman superhero, right?
This card's so good.
3 cost equipment gives you plus 2 power, but then it has, you may put any 1 card you buy or gain this turn on top of your deck.
Yeah.
So, again, instead of going to discard, you're going to see it next turn. I mean, that is always a powerful effect.
Yep, and it doesn't matter what it is.
Does not matter.
Because it's buy or gain.
So if you get Lobo... If you spend your turn getting Lobo,
aside from that, it doesn't even say lineup. If you kill the supervillain, you take it.
I know I've done that before.
Yeah.
I think we both have done that. Yeah. Yeah. So you could do the supervillain. You could do an 8 cost hero, a 7 cost villain.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. So I'll let you talk about that one because I think I've done this one more.
I think you've also done this one more.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about this one.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing. You make my heart sing. That's not it. For 4 power, he's a hero. If you control a location, plus 5 power.
Yep.
But if you don't, it's plus 2 power.
So always giving you plus 2 power, but that's massive upside.
And if we're talking about just the core set, I don't think there's a way to destroy locations.
There's not.
Unless there's a supervillain, but I don't think there is.
There's not. I don't believe so.
Yeah, it's only in the Crisis 1 for sure.
Yeah, plus probably the other expansions too. But
because
in core
those
set,
are so strong.
In core set, once you have a location out, it can't be touched.
And Swamp Thing's just always 5 power.
So Swamp Thing gives you plus 5 power every single time you play that card. Yep. Blue Beetle is another hero. So Blue Beetle is a 6 cost, but it's worth the 6 cost.
Yeah.
Plus 3 power, but it also has defense. You may reveal this card from your hand to avoid an attack. It stays in your hand.
Yeah. It's just reveal.
So it's just reveal. So all other defense cards are you discard that card to avoid the attack and then some other benefit. For example, like Super Speed and Cape and Cow, like we said, is draw 2 cards.
Yep.
But Blue Beetle stays in your hand. So it stays in your hand. I mean, that's just staying in your hand plus 3 power. That's powerful. It gives you 2 VPs, but most of these cards you're not getting for the VP.
Yep.
You're getting for the effect. It's just that VP is just ancillary.
I was just thinking about something. Say you go to the end of your turn and you kill the supervillain, right? You then draw into it and you get Blue Beetle in your hand. You flip the supervillain, you're like, oh no, I got a Blue Beetle. I'm good.
Yep.
And then your opponent goes to their turn and they try to attack you and you're like, nah, fam.
No,
I still got that Blue Beetle.
And
then they kill the supervillain and they're like, oh, here's another attack. And you're like, nope, no, I still got him.
Yep. That one card saved you in that scenario.
Yeah.
3 attacks.
3 times, yeah.
3 times. So that's crazy.
Yeah. which honestly really isn't that unlikely to happen.
No, it's not.
Especially
in
later
the late
on.
game.
Yeah.
Especially late game. Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially late game. So you talk about that one. And I will mention one other thing about that card.
Yeah. Let me talk about this guy right here. The Riddler. For 3 cost, he gets, you may pay 3 power. If you do, gain the top card of the main deck. Use this ability any number of times this turn. But if you choose not to, you just get +1 power. So there's another guy that I really like to play in this game. And if we're talking about throughout the entire game as a whole, Shazam's my favorite one to play.
Okay. Yep.
He's in a different box. Yep. He's not in the core
He's set. In Heroes Unite.
Yeah. So with Shazam, you can spend 4 power to just get the top card of the deck, and that's your superhero.
Yeah, it's the Riddler effect.
Yeah.
It's the Riddler effect, but it's stapled to a superhero.
Yeah.
So it's stapled to the character that you're playing.
And every single time I do the effect, I kind of just yell Shazam and then take the top card. So many times is it a terrible card, but you get lucky.
Can you imagine getting Lobo off the top?
Oh man,
Lobo 7 costs, so you're only paying 3 for a 7 cost card.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yep. Yeah, that's crazy.
Anything above 3 cost, which I'm assuming the average cost of cards in these decks is like 3.5 plus, or probably 4 plus.
Probably.
Oh yeah, I guess it would be 4 plus because then the lowest is 1. Inside the there
are no cards that are 1 in
that's
core
right.
set.
That's right.
There are no cards that are 1 in core set.
Okay, yeah. So it's 2 to 8, I think.
Yeah,
max is 8.
Max is 8.
Yeah,
outside of supervillains. Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
So it's up there.
Yeah. I did Riddler's effect one time, and I got a card that was 7. I'm like, yes, please.
Especially if there's nothing good on board. You're like, I don't really want to give them whatever's on top because I don't even know what's on top. Riddler off the top. Yeah, that was a great card.
Yep.
So.
All right, and then we've got another villain here, Clayface. Probably one of my favorite villains, and Clayface is really simple.
Actually, Dan, this card is terrible. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Choose a card you played this turn, play it again. Effects and power generated the first time you played it still remain.
The card itself does nothing.
Yes. The card
does
nothing.
Needs to be paired with other stuff, which you always have other stuff.
Yes.
But the card itself is bad.
Yes. The card itself, is bad. It has amazing potential and
it's normally always really, really up there in terms of value.
So again, Lobo. I mean, one of the best cards in the core set.
Oh man, Lobo.
But I mean, Clayface paired with a Swamp Thing. I've done that. I don't know how many times. That's 10 power.
It's so much.
So Clayface and Swamp Thing is 10 power.
Yeah. Clayface and Lobo.
6 power, blow up 4 cards. I mean,
Clayface and any supervillain, Clayface and it's just anything. Any draw card, okay, let's do it.
Let's do it again. Let's do that awesome thing we did before again. Yeah. So it's great, but like you said, by itself is not a good card. It needs to have something powerful.
Yeah.
And you need to draw both of those things in the same turn. So you have to hold on to Clayface until like one of the last cards you play in a turn.
Yeah.
So it requires a lot of correct lines of play.
It's really not a bad card because you're not trying to play bad cards in your deck. Copying any card really that you have, since you're trying to make it all good. Yeah. It's always a good
the worst possible thing you could do with that card is like get 1 power.
This is like copy a weakness.
And that is a potential that could happen. That
but
definitely
the odds
could
of it are so
but
low.
if you have a hand like that, your turn is probably not going that great to begin with.
Yeah, it was over anyway.
And again, core set that we're talking about. All right, so the last few cards we're going to talk about are the heroes. So go ahead and talk about that one first.
So we have the fastest man alive, and what was it from the anime show for the Justice League? He was talking to Hawk Girl. And he's like, I'm the fastest man alive. And she's like, I bet you don't get so many dates or something like that. In a children's cartoon, they say this. Something along those lines. Someone correct me.
That was one of my favorite cartoons.
Yeah.
I have all the episodes.
Yeah.
To that. Those.
So fastest man alive is the Flash.
Yep.
He has five power. Yeah, he costs
It
5.
costs 5. It's 5 costing. It's a 5
I keep
cost
wanting
card.
to say mana, but I'm like I'm
a 5
messing
cost
myself
card.
up. Yeah, and then draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
It's
So
drawing
cards. 2 cards. Yeah. So the card gives you no power, but drawing 2 cards
gives you power.
gives you hopefully.
Yeah.
So, I mean, drawing cards is always a powerful effect. So, so basically, like, these are the signature hero cards, right? So they each have their own. So the Flash is draw 5, or excuse me, draw 2. Draw 5. That'd be crazy. It's 5 cost. King of Atlantis, so the Aquaman's is also 5 cost, but you may destroy a card in your discard if you do +3 power, otherwise +1.
Yeah,
so
really
it's
good.
a destroy outlet, basically, because in order to destroy cards, you need an outlet in order to do that, or a card that gives you that effect, that ability. So King of Atlantis, but again, conditional because it has to be in your discard pile. So the downside is really bad. So 5 cost, and it is a feel bad when you don't have anything in discard to destroy.
That's for sure.
That is a feel bad with this card. Like, I like it because anything that says destroy on it is good, and I like. But to only give you +1 power, it's like, oh man, I don't know. I don't. Yeah. So anyway,
it's definitely feel bad.
Yeah. So.
That's why you buy something before you play the card, so
right.
at least you have it in
But I
discard.
mean, initially, you have 10 cards that you want to destroy. But yeah, you're right. The first card you buy goes to discard. So yeah.
So next up, we have John Jones.
John
The
MMA fighter.
Yes.
It's Martian Manhunter,
Yes.
for those that don't know.
6 power, 6 cost.
There you go. 6 cost.
He costs 6.
Cost 6, yeah.
Play the top card of the supervillain stack, then return it to the top of the stack.
Yep. So there's 13 supervillains, I think, in the core set.
And we get 8. Well, when you're playing,
depending on how you play, the normal
we
mode,
get 8.
The normal mode is you get 8, and that's normally what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they all have an effect. So Raish, the supervillain that always starts out on top, is +3 power. That's the only
is it
ability.
+3 or is it 4?
No, the impossible mode is 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the base core set villains, most of them are +3 power.
Gotcha. Okay.
But once you got into crisis mode, they introduced the
thinking.
impossible mode supervillains, so the harder ones. Those, like Raish, was +4 power.
Okay.
And Raish was a strict upgrade from the standpoint of not only did he give you +4 power, but before you drew your new hand, you put him at the bottom of your deck.
Oh.
So Raish Al Ghul has, from core set, +3 power, and then it has he goes at the bottom of your deck. Man, now I want to pull the card. But he goes on the bottom of your deck after drawing, I believe.
Okay.
So in the Crisis expansion, it was you put him at bottom of deck before you draw. So if you don't have a deck to draw from, he's the first card you're going to draw.
Right.
And he'd be the first card you draw, and then you shuffle discard pile. So that is really, really good.
You can set up some really strong plays.
Yeah, because +4 power, like 2 turns in a row. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes,
if you know you can set it up to where you have 5 cards left in the deck, or you have 4 and then you play him to cause it to be the 5th, you're then drawing those 5, then you just play him again. As long as none of those are a draw card,
right?
He then goes to the bottom of the deck, which is also the top of the deck,
right? Which
there's
is
only
empty.
one card.
It's empty, right? Exactly.
Then you get to play him again on the following turn.
Right. Lex Luthor is draw 3 cards. That's Lex Luthor's effect.
Yeah.
So if you get John Jones and you have Lex Luthor, play John Jones, draw 3 cards.
Yeah. Parallax,
double your power. Yeah.
Impossible, which is, well, all right. I guess we're not even talking about impossible.
Yeah.
But double your power is strong.
That's crazy. crazy, dude.
Which I forget who I was playing. Did I play? I think I played Superman, and I got to parallax with Doomsday, and I had Doomsday.
Yeah. Which
Super
Doomsday
strength,
is +4 power.
Super strength, which is +5
power.
and then I had parallax.
That's 3 cards. 3 cards for 18 power.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That's insane. That is crazy. Talk about DPS. Dude.
That's a lot of damage. Yeah. That's a lot.
I mean, and then break it down further. Damage per card.
Yeah, damage
or power
per card,
whatever. That's insane. Dude.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So,
and then I still had 2 other cards.
Yeah. So John Jones, yes, super conditional, but most of the supervillains have really good effects.
Yeah.
Some of them are they're so.
Yeah,
but
put all equipments in the hand or all superpowers.
Yeah.
But
and
if
a lot of those
is
if you choose not to, you get +3 power.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so a lot of the time it's going to net you +3 power, like some other effect or +3 power. So. All right, and then we've got High Tech Hero. It's Cyborg's signature card. If you've played a superpower or equipment this turn, +3 power, otherwise +1 power. And it costs 3. So a 3 costs for +3 power, that's crazy. And normally I tend to go towards an equipment-based deck. So I'm normally always getting that +3 power. Yep. There's a lot of really good equipment, and we've gone over a lot of them already. So for a 3 cost a card giving you +3 power, it's pretty good. Pretty good, Bob.
I would definitely want to do an nth metal into the cyborg card.
Yeah.
To then just be like, blow up stuff and then get more power. Yeah. This is fine.
Yeah.
So next up, we have Emerald Knight, which is the Green Lantern. Yep. Also known as Ryan Reynolds.
Or Hal Jordan.
Nope. Remove an equipment, hero, or superpower from the lineup, play it, and then return it to the lineup at the end of your turn.
Yep.
So this card overall can be really strong.
Or it can be really bad.
Most of the time, it's really bad.
Yeah. Because, again, really conditional.
Yeah.
Yes, there are 5 slots. There are 5 slots in the lineup, which that can go higher depending on other card effects.
Yeah.
Mostly from supervillains, from core set. But anything that is really conditional, we tend to not like.
Yeah. It's pretty rough for this card.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there can be a really good card out there. Well, if there's a really good card out there, your opponent's probably going to buy it.
Yep.
Or it's like, well, it could also be, they had a bad hand or they didn't want to get that card. And it's just like, well, then if you do, wait a second. So since it puts it in at the end of the turn,
you can't buy it.
Yeah, you can't even buy it.
That's why I don't like that.
All right, don't play this card.
I know. And I don't even think there's a ruling. I don't even think they call this card out in the rule book. I'm going to double check. But it specifically says, okay, so Emerald Knight Hero, 5 cost. Remove an equipment, hero, or superpower from the lineup. Play it, then return it to the lineup at the end of your turn. So you don't have the ability to buy that card.
Yeah, unless they changed it in a rule and this card is bad.
Yeah, we're going to double check, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah, I would assume so. That is how we've interpreted it. Because the cards you can only buy are in the lineup and the stacks.
Yeah, so when it's not there, you cannot buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, because the thing is, think about it. I've played this card. Well, where does the card go once you've played it? Normally, there's a zone.
It's in limbo.
What's that?
It's in limbo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a zone. It's a played zone. These are the cards that I've played. Yeah. And then at the end of your turn, they all go to your discard pile. Or in this case, that goes back to the lineup.
Yeah.
So it's you can't buy. You don't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, if I'm going to normally, if I'm going to play the card, I want to buy it. Normally. I don't know. It's just, I have not really come across a situation to where I want to utilize this card because it's not like where this would be better is if you choose not to, plus X power.
Yeah.
A certain amount of power, but that's not even there either.
Yeah, the card in general it's just no bueno.
Yeah, no bueno. So kind of along similar lines is Princess Diana of Themyscira. So it's Wonder Woman's signature card. 7 cost. Hero, gain all villains with cost 7 or less in the lineup. Again, very conditional. But I can get Lobo for free.
I was going to say, the fact that you just gain them.
Yes.
But it's also a thing of, if there are no villains, because a lot of the villains are really strong.
Yes.
If there are no villains, but it's also
a dead card.
It also will get you them, but you don't get to play them. So it's like,
unless you're playing Aquaman. Oh, well, not even that, because Aquaman is 5 or less.
Well, yeah. So only some of those
only some
you can
of them.
get.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So yeah, some of these cards are just rough.
Yeah. But I mean, we can't expect all of the cards to be like amazing.
Why can't we expect all the superhero cards to be good?
That is the one thing where I'm like,
why can't
because
we?
and then we come across probably one of the best, the best hero in the game. Now there's a reason it costs 8.
Man of Steel is so good.
Yeah.
8 power.
Yes.
8 not 8 power. 8 cost.
It cost 8.
8 cost.
It cost 8, yeah.
Plus 3 power. Put all superpowers from your discard into your hand.
Yes. That's insane.
All of them from discard.
Even if you don't have any superpowers, gives you plus 3.
Yeah.
Gives you plus 3 power.
Even if you decide to buy some kicks to just get them into your discard, to then be like, let's get all of them back.
Yep.
It's,
that's crazy.
Yeah, card's nuts.
That's crazy.
Card's nuts.
That's insane.
Even when the card's bad, it's still great.
What really upsets me is we have Superman's signature card, and then we come to Batman's signature card. Dark Knight, hero, 5 cost, plus 2 power. Okay, so at least this gives you plus 2 power.
Yeah, and it's 5 cost.
Yes. Gain all equipment in the lineup. Then, if you play or have played Catwoman this turn, you may put a card you bought or gained this turn into your hand. So it's not a bad card. It's not a bad card because that second sentence. Then, if you play or have played Catwoman this turn, you may put a card you bought or gained this turn into your hand. It's not bought or gained this way, like for the equipment. It's anything, any card. So, but in order to do that, you have to have Catwoman.
Yeah.
Catwoman, I think, is 2 cost and gives you plus 2 power as a hero.
Yeah.
But in order to take advantage of that, you have to have Catwoman in your deck. So
even if we take that text out, it's 5 cost
for 2
plus
power.
2 power, which is great. There are still quite a few of the equipments in the deck as well.
Yeah, there's
and
a
they
lot,
all tend to be really good.
Yeah.
So even if it's just get all of the equipments.
Yep. So yeah, it's not a bad card.
Yeah.
It's just stacked up against Superman. It's not as good, but again, Dark Knight cost 5, Superman cost 8. So what do you expect?
Superman is ridiculously strong in the Flash or Fastest Man Alive. Draw 2 cards.
Yeah. So, so those are some of our favorites. Now, what we're gonna do is we've got like a top 5 list. Not a top 5 list, but our 5.
Damn, my phone died. Good thing I kind of remember.
You got it. All right.
Let me just hold on to these.
All right. So the first one that I'm gonna say here is Nth Metal. Nth Metal is definitely one of the best cards in the game, especially early game. For 3, the ability to blow up a card, I mean, definitely has to be up there for me.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, what's one of yours?
Bulletproof. We talked about it earlier. Dan brought up some of the best defense cards. I'm like, I really prioritize Bulletproof over the other ones. Just blow cards up is so strong. And again, it does replace itself.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Going off of that, I combined these two, Super Speed and Cape and Cowl, because again, they are different just from the standpoint of Cape and Cowl gives you plus 2 power, and Super Speed is draw a card. But the reason they're on my list is the defense discard to draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
So that's why they're on my list.
Yep.
So that was kind of my slot for that one. So
yeah. My other one is may come to a surprise. Green Arrow's bow.
Nope. It's
This
not
card
surprise.
is amazing.
It's not surprised.
For 4 cost plus 2 power, reduce the supervillain's cost by 2. It's essentially 4 cost for reduce it 4 power. 4 cost, 4 power, essentially.
So my next one is also Green Arrow's bow. So not a surprise to me because it's on my list. 100%. Like you said, 4 cost for basically 4 power when you're going against a supervillain. 100%.
Yeah, the card's a little amazing. We have, so really it's either this or like Lobo. I wanted to throw this one in here because there's just more copies of it, so you're going to see it more often. And it's cheaper.
And what card is it?
Heat Vision. Heat Vision is a superpower. It costs 6 plus 3 power. You may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile.
So I was going to put Lobo on my list, but because Lobo is 100% one of the best cards in the game, but there's only a single copy.
There's only a single copy.
And that's why Heat Vision is on my list as well, because there's more copies of it in the deck. So Heat Vision definitely on my list. Again, another destroy outlet of blowing cards up and netting you plus 3 power, right?
Yeah, the card's amazing.
So only because of the fact that there's more copies in the deck, that's why Heat Vision is on my list and not Lobo. So, because I think it's a totally different discussion if we talk about most powerful cards.
That's a completely different discussion.
So, all right, what's your last one?
Second to last.
Second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aquaman's Trident. Setting up your future draws are so good because it's not like you're buying bad cards. Well, you're probably not buying bad cards. The fact that you can just put to the top of the deck any card that you buy or gain, super villains included, is ridiculously strong. It's nuts.
And that's why like Aquaman is one of the best heroes in core set. So the fact that you basically have access to his ability, but better because it's any card, but it's just one.
It is just one card.
It's just one card. But still, I don't know how many times I've told Jim, I'm like, just one. I don't want you cheating here because it's so good. It's so
such
good.
A good card,
So good. All right. So my last one, my number 5, is Bat Signal. It's Bat Signal because I have utilized that card so many times. Normally I have Bat Signal and Robin in the same list, and I'm either doing Bat Signal to get Robin to get another equipment or Robin to get Bat Signal to get another hero. So that's why I chose Bat Signal because there's the upside is greater on the heroes than the equipment. And normally when you want to have the equipment is not on your turn, it's on someone else's turn due to the fact of the defenses like Cape and Cal and Lasso of Truth. So that's why I went with Bat Signal.
So I really wanted to pick Nth Metal for my last card. But I was also like, all right, maybe I shouldn't just fill my list with 3 destroy cards. So I wanted to change it up a little bit. And, when we were making these lists, we were talking a little bit about combos. So Batmobile is on my list. Really specifically when you have the Flash. When you're playing Flash, discard your whole hand, draw 6 cards.
Now, let's say it the right way. Draw 5 cards, then you draw 1.
Draw 5 cards plus 1 card, 6.
So real quick,
the
reason I it's a mental trick for me because honestly, ever since I watched the Command Zone's rules episode about interactions and just rulings about cards for Magic, for me, understanding the game is where everything is at. So once I understand it, that just makes everything so much easier. And normally for me, if I try and do too many shortcuts, then I just get confused. So I think teaching it right? And helping someone else understand it. Like I have to make sure I want to make sure that I'm talking through it concisely and in a way to where it helps them understand it.
Yeah.
Because the end goal, you're right, it's you're drawing 6 cards.
I think there's also just a time and a place for it. So like if I have to really go through it all and then do things, then I'm going to do it. But like you were saying, like just shortcutting, I've shortcuts in so many card games, it's not even a problem.
Normally, and I'm sure you've picked up on this too, but playing games with me, it's I'm talking everything out loud.
Yeah.
And I'm even saying, okay, I'm going to, and I even say it all out loud. Like, for example, Flash and Penguin. Okay, I'm doing Penguin's effect, draw 2, discard 2. Okay, now Flash's effect, draw an additional. Like it helps.
There's also been multiple times where like I'm going through my line of the cards that I've played and I'll be like, all right, 2 here plus, and then I'll say 5 specifically.
Yes.
And then Dan's like, oh, so you're at 7. I'm like, what? No, I'm at 5. I said plus. This gives 3 and then it's 5. Like in my head, I know exactly how much it is, so I'm now adding.
And I've gotten to the point now to where like I know what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
It's just we come at it a little bit differently. And like we end up at the same point. We always end up at the same point.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, we always end up at the same point. And like it's different settings. Like it all depends on your setting. And normally I'm always in the mode of teaching and understanding, and I'm also thinking about I'm on camera trying to talk about, but it's just different. Like that's all. It's just different.
Yeah.
So
time and place, really.
Yeah.
If you're teaching someone, you really should go through all the steps.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
And
Batmobile's
Batmobile's amazing. Discard your hand, draw 5 new cards.
Yeah.
And if you're playing it with the Flash, draw a 6th card for that. And just kind of go off. That combo, I believe when I was playing the Flash, was pretty crazy. And then, I mean, sure, I messed up the Penguin thing, but that's because the game is actually wrong and not us. Who would have thought draw an additional card meant draw after? No, it doesn't. All right.
Right. But like we said, it's like when you come into any game with an understanding that's the rule set is similar to something else that you already know, and you know that other game exceedingly well. Like it's all about your frame of reference, right? So when your frame of reference is framed around something that's similar but different, I don't blame anyone. Like when your frame is something completely different, and then they're just like, no, we're changing and doing something totally different, even though it doesn't really make sense. Like it doesn't make sense to us, but we can still say it doesn't make sense to us, but we accept it, and we'll do it. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't mean I'm happy.
Yeah. So, but it is a thing. Like when it's different, like understanding it and accepting it and then excelling at it. Like I enjoy that. Like when we can understand different rule sets and then just be like, okay, I'm good at this. I'm also really good at this. And I can beat anyone in either situation. Like that's like getting to that point. Like that's a pro. Like that is the essence of being a professional. Right. And so I
thought I was getting paid to play stuff or to do something causes you to be a professional. Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of all we got for today. This one went a little bit longer, but you know what? It's okay. It was good. That was good.
It was a good day.
I'm looking for If you don't understand that reference, go listen to all of our early episodes of the podcast and then come back here.
I was going to say, I think the last one we brought it up to,
the last episode, we brought it up. Yeah,
one of them.
That had to have been subconsciously on your part.
Yeah,
I think it was.
I don't know what caused me to say it.
All right. So, real quick before we end here, there's a lot of things going on for Hobbies and Happiness behind the scenes.
Man.
A lot of really good things. That's all I'm going to say right now. That is all I'm going to say.
All right. Good idea.
There's a lot of things. If you pay attention on social media, just watch out for that. Trying to post a lot more content on social. I know we've been kind of a little quiet on Facebook and Instagram lately. But it's going to change. It's actually started today. We're back to posting regular content, photo content. So keep an eye out on social medias. But we've got a lot of exciting things happening behind the scenes. really exciting things, if I do say so myself. Really exciting things. So it's going to entail a lot of changes, a lot of good changes. Changes.
All right, yeah, we can't keep
we
going.
Can't keep
We're
doing
gonna
that,
get
yeah,
copyrighted.
So with that kind of little teaser, just keep an eye out, and we'll make sure we'll let you guys know what's going on here at Hobbies and Happiness. But thanks everybody for being here. This is a great episode, and I kind of I'm looking forward to doing more of these episodes with other boxes for DC, but then even other different games too.
Yeah.
I don't know if we really want to get into doing reviews, because that's really not what we're about. Like, we're card game players, and we're strategic thinkers, and like. And that's where we gravitate towards. Yep. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about and kind of going over. So we're looking forward to do more interviews. Hopefully, we're going to do an interview next week with some friends of ours. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But I enjoy getting back to these episodes where we just sit down and talk about a game that we've been playing and having fun with. So
it's been a bit.
Yeah, it has. It has. So until next time, thanks everybody for being here. And you know what? Before we get out of here, Jimbo, where can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jim Morgan HNH.
You can find me on Instagram at Daniel.G.Campbell and Twitter _DJ Campbell. And then you can find Hobbies and Happiness on all of them. Everything is posted in the links and all that stuff. For the most part, we're always at hobbies.n.happiness. That's pretty much what everything is. Everything's a little different because like Twitch is Hobbies and Happy, because you can't be really
It'll be in the
long.
description.
It'll be all there. So anyway, thanks for being here, and we'll catch you in the next episode. All right, see everybody.
Take care.